The Debauched Life of King Edward VII, England's Lustful Monarch. What did King Edward VII desire? Edward VII was born as the heir to the British throne, groomed to rule one of the most powerful empires in the world. But despite his regal position, the future king had little interest in matters of statecraft or diplomacy. What he craved most were indulgence, pleasure, and excess. Edward, who later became one of the most controversial monarchs in history, was notorious for his insatiable appetite for indulgence and the hedonistic lifestyle that defined much of his reign. Edward's story is far more than that of a royal heir. It is the story of a king who lived to satisfy his every whim, ignoring the duties of leadership, his own health, and his family's expectations in favor of a life drenched in luxury, debauchery, and scandal. A life of excess and parties. Upon his ascension to the throne, Edward was less concerned with ruling a nation and more focused on enjoying its pleasures. He became infamous for his excessive lifestyle, which revolved around lavish parties, extravagant feasts, and nights spent in luxurious brothels. His most notorious haunt was Le Chabanais, the most renowned brothel in Paris, where Edward reveled in unrestrained pleasure and indulgence. These hedonistic trips to Paris were well documented, but they were only the beginning of his notorious behavior. At these extravagant establishments, Edward wasn't just a king. He was a king who took pleasure in excess. He ordered a special love chair, a peculiar oversized seat with two distinct levels, one designed for him and the other for his companions. This chair, which became a symbol of his debauched desires, was an odd yet fitting accessory for a man whose lust and appetite for pleasure far outweighed his duties as monarch.
Tales of excess. Edward's bizarre pleasures. Edward's indulgence extended beyond furniture. His favorite pastime was taking lavish baths in champagne with courtesans, a custom at the brothel. The king's private room was filled with erotic art, including an elaborate bronze bathtub, painted with an image that combined a half-woman, half-swan creature. A surreal and fitting homage to his extravagant desires. Edward's behavior was not just limited to royal brothels. His love for fine foods and exotic pleasures became well known, and it is said that the meals he enjoyed were part of his royal identity. Breakfast consisted of bacon, eggs, fish, and toast, followed by a turtle soup. His midday meal might include roasted meats, lamb, and a Yorkshire pudding for dessert. By dinner, Edward was indulging in dozens of oysters, squid, and exotic meats like squab and quail. His meals were a lavish display of excess. Scandals and affairs. Edward's unfaithful reign. One of the most well-known scandals of Edward's reign was his affair with Jenny Churchill, the mother of Winston Churchill. This affair caused great outrage and was even the subject of a failed blackmail attempt by Jenny's husband, Randolph Churchill. Edward, known for his defiant nature, didn't back down and instead challenged Randolph to a duel that never occurred due to the illegality of such challenges. Edward's life wasn't just one of indulgence, it was a life shaped by scandal and betrayal. His relationship with his family, especially with his mother, Queen Victoria, was strained due to his wanton lifestyle. After his father, Prince Albert, passed away in 1861, Edward's behavior only worsened. Queen Victoria, in her grief and frustration, believed that her son's behavior was to blame for his father's premature death and could never forgive him. How Edward stayed energetic, his secret to longevity. Edward was known for his robust vitality, which allowed him to maintain his indulgent lifestyle. His secret? Food. The king's daily meals were designed to fuel his excessive desires, and it is said that his health and stamina were supported by these opulent meals. Oysters, cakes, and roasted meats were staples of his diet, providing the king with energy for his long nights of indulgence. Historian Christopher Hibbert paints a picture of Edward's day, where the food was more than just sustenance. It was part of a royal performance, a way to demonstrate wealth, status, and luxury. These extravagant meals weren't just for show. They were what kept the king strong and able to indulge in his desires. Hook. Edward VII was not just a king. He was a king of indulgence. His reign is remembered not for its military victories or political achievements, but for his endless indulgence in food, pleasure, and scandal. Want to know more about his life of excess and its impact on his reign? Keep watching to discover the truth behind the lustful king and the world of decadence he built around himself.